A cross-country storm system will be spreading impacts from coast to coast starting today, where we're going to be seeing heavy rain and snow across the Pacific Northwest that will eventually be crossing the northern Rockies, bringing snow to areas like Wyoming before ejecting into the central plains, where we could see heavy snow and strong winds accompanying this system. There's a chance of some thunderstorms with this system, as well as some much-needed precipitation, as we currently have plenty of drought across the United States. Let's get started here with the Weather Prediction Center, where we see our current day one outlook, and this shows that Pacific Northwest system and even some areas of the Southwest tapping into some moisture that will all eventually be shifting into the northern Rockies throughout the day on Tuesday, and eventually starting to eject into the central and eastern U.S., where we can see that heavy snow corridor from northeast Nebraska through and into northern Wisconsin and the UP of Michigan. We'll see this low pressure system really start to tighten up, and we could see some severe weather from Iowa down to Mississippi throughout the day on Wednesday as well. This storm system will eventually continue to push to the east, and we could see some sneaky snow showers across portions of the interior Northeast. Speaking of those severe thunderstorms alongside this system, we have a marginal risk posted for day 3, which is Wednesday, from Iowa down to Mississippi and Alabama. Although this risk is not as high as the high risk that we saw on Saturday across many of these regions and the moderate risk that we saw on Friday, this is still an indication that we could see severe thunderstorms pop up in these areas as this system rapidly intensifies and moves into areas where it could draw up that Gulf moisture and really get its act together. So here's our probabilistic forecast model for different types of precipitation. And here is the Pacific Northwest currently. And you can see as the showers continue to move to the east, we have some heavy rain across the Pacific Northwest, some heavy snow in the Cascades, and this system eventually ejects out into the northern Rockies, where we could see some high confidence of some heavy snowfall across portions of the northern Rockies in Wyoming, portions of Montana as well. This system will eventually continue into the central plains, and we'll see this storm also start to move quite rapidly and gain some intensity as well. We could see inch-an-hour snowfall rates in portions of Nebraska and Iowa as this system starts to tighten up and get its act together. Many areas could start as rain, like Minneapolis here, 2 a.m. on Wednesday, you have a 32% chance of seeing some rain, only 2% chance of snow. But as this system continues to move to the east, that heavy snow will make its way in. By 11 a.m. on Wednesday, you've switched over from rain to that heavy snowfall, 71% chance of snow at that point. Now, one thing to note here is how quickly these deeply shaded blues, which is the probability of snowfall being at 77% here in northwest Iowa, to pretty much nothing in southeast South Dakota. So the tightly knit gradient on the northwestern edge of this storm system is going to be something to watch. If that shield of precipitation is more expansive, we could see areas like Minnesota getting a lot more snowfall. Instead of being contained to the southeast portion of the state, could see Minneapolis and even areas to the northwest tap into some of those 6+ inch amounts. That storm system continues to move through, and we could see some back-end snow, especially in the UP of Michigan, getting enhanced by the lake there. Could see the highest snow totals right in here in the UP of Michigan. As previously mentioned, we do have the chance for some storms to bubble up right in here. This is that main area of that marginal risk that the Storm Prediction Center is watching. I do think that we could see some severe thunderstorms in these areas. As this storm continues to draw up some Gulf moisture, we'll see some beneficial rainfall across areas of the Great Lakes regions, areas that have been in drought for a while and continue to be in drought. And as this storm continues to move into the northeast, that saw plenty of rain help across this weekend, with some heavy rain setting up along the I-95 corridor, seeing another round of rain and even some post-frontal snow in the higher elevations of the interior Northeast. So your Adirondacks, your Green and White Mountains, the Berkshires, the Catskills could see a decent amount of snowfall, as well as portions of interior Maine, whereas down east Maine and the coastline will stay as all rain. So let's take a look at a deterministic model here. This is the NAM showing our system from this past weekend, our high impact system moving off the coast finally. And we can see our next system to watch here ejecting from the Rockies, and we'll see this band of snow kind of develop across areas of the northern plains and into the central plains. 988 millibar low pressure system, fairly strong, starting to draw up some Gulf moisture as well as that shield of snow, maybe even some freezing rain in some spots. That's another hazard to add to the list. And as this system continues to move to the north and east, we'll see these isobars here, these lines of equal pressure getting very close. That indicates that on the back end of the system, we could see some strong winds alongside that heavy snow. So maybe the possibility of near blizzard conditions, although I don't think that we'll get to that exact point. As this system continues to move off to the east, the NAM has these storms firing up a little later than the Storm Prediction Center, kind of into areas of eastern Illinois, western Indiana, and down into areas like Nashville in Tennessee. As this system continues to move to the north and east, we'll then see maybe another low pressure system forming right along the I-95 corridor and moving to the northeast as well, and that could bring in those post-frontal snow showers. You can kind of see some of that here in western Pennsylvania and along the spine of the Appalachians throughout the day on Friday. So here's the Weather Prediction Center's probabilistic winter storm snow totals. And you can see anywhere in blue here is above 6 inches of snowfall. I do want to bring your attention here to Minnesota, where the Minneapolis-St. Paul metropolitan area, just the northwest of that 6-inch contour here, but even towing the line between the 2 and 4 inch contour and the 4 to 6 inch contour. So you can see Rochester, Minnesota, not that far away, about 45 minutes, is going to see over 8 inches of snow, but Minneapolis and St. Paul could be just getting 4. So a very tight gradient on that northwestern edge, and that's going to be a big player in who overperforms with this system and who underperforms with this system. Those 6-inch amounts extend back into northeast Nebraska, and we'll see the heaviest of the snow totals near Marquette in the upper peninsula of Michigan. They could see upwards of a foot of snow. I think I have just under a foot of snow there, right around 10 inches in the Marquette area. Speaking of my snowfall predictions, here you go. Here you have it. The majority of the area on this map here is in this trace to 3-inch amount. Areas that could see a little bit of snowfall, but not a good amount to really start to consider it a plowable snowfall. That includes areas of the interior northeast. This 3 to 6 contour very tight around our main area of 6 to 12 in pink, but that 3 to 6 contour does include Minneapolis, Minnesota. I do think you guys will see over 3 inches of snow from this system. Here's the Weather Prediction Center's 120-hour precipitation total. That includes the previous storm system moving off the coast. But I want to draw your attention to this area of over 1 inch of rainfall across much of the upper Midwest, as well as just some beneficial rainfall in general, over 1/10 of an inch, even to 1/2 an inch across much of the Great Lakes region. Many of these areas are in drought, so even though much of this precipitation for Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin is coming in the form of snowfall, it's still much needed precipitation. So when things do melt, once we are all set and done with this system and things start to rebound yet again, as March weather tends to do, definitely going to help out the drought situation there. Areas like the upstate portion of the lower peninsula of Michigan could see over 1/2 an inch as well. Some of those areas are in a severe drought. So much needed precipitation from this system as well as with the previous system. And we'll see, hopefully we'll see some of that reflected within the next couple weeks of this drought monitor getting updated. This is valid as of March 11th at 8 a.m. So make sure to stay safe out there. Travel conditions in this main snow area could get pretty grim at times, with visibility getting very low. So make sure to take it slow and safe on those roads. And I will see you again very soon.